So the next thing to happen on AEW Revolution 2023, it was the main event. It was the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF, versus Bryan Danielson, one-on-one for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship in a 1-hour Iron Man match. So yeah, that's what this match is all about. It's for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. So yeah, Bryan Danielson comes out with his entrance and everything, and MJF had like a special entrance. Had a bunch of people coming out playing the violin and stuff, and then he comes out wearing that mask, the same mask that he wore when he made his return, almost a year ago. But yeah, that's what happened there. He comes out, and yeah, it was a pretty good match between MJF and Bryan Danielson. It was going back and forth and everything. They're doing like technician wrestling and stuff, because obviously it's a 1-hour match, so we got gotta stretch out, But yeah, it was just going back and forth and everything. At one point, we see Bryan Danielson actually hit the Psycho knee onto MJF, pins him for the 3 count. So yeah, Bryan Danielson was the one that picked up the first fall into this match. But then eventually we see MJF hit a low blow onto Bryan Danielson, which caused a disqualification. So Bryan Danielson was 2-0. So yeah, Bryan Danielson had 2 points, MJF has 0. And then that's when, since MJF hit the low blow onto him, he pins him for the 3 count the first time, and then pins him again for the 3 count the second time, getting 2 falls. So yeah, MJF is 2, Bryan Danielson is 2, and they tried to pin him for like a third one, but Bryan Danielson kicked out at 2. But yeah, it was back and forth and everything. Eventually, Bryan Danielson got busted open in this match, and same for MJF. We see MJF placing Bryan Danielson onto the table at ringside. He jumps off the top turnbuckle with an elbow drop onto him through a table, and then he picks him up at one point, hitting a running tombstone power driver onto Bryan Danielson through a table as well. It was just going back and forth between these two guys. We see MJF hitting the Heat Seeker onto Bryan Danielson at one point in this match. But Bryan Danielson barely kicking out at 2 and everything. But yeah, these two guys was tied and everything. And then we see Bryan Danielson hit the Psycho knee onto MJF, and then he locks on the Regal stretch, making MJF tap out. So yeah, MJF tapped out, and then Bryan Danielson got the 3rd point. And then eventually, since MJF was going after Bryan Danielson's arm majority of the time in this match, he locked on the Salt of the Earth onto him at one point. And then Bryan Danielson was so close to the ropes, but MJF used his feet to hook the other arm as well, making Bryan Danielson tap out. So yeah, it was 3-3 at that point. And yeah, it was just going back and forth and everything. We'll get down to the final minute and stuff. Bryan Danielson had the single leg Boston Crab locked onto MJF, trying to make him tap out and everything. But eventually time runs out. And yeah, MJF pretty much retained the World Heavyweight Championship because it was a draw. Doctors comes down to give him some oxygen and stuff, using the oxygen tanks and stuff like that during this match. After this match ended, so yeah, that's what happened there. Tony Schiavone comes down. He got word that this match will go into sudden death. Since it's a draw, MJF pretty much starts complaining and stuff. And yeah, it was just going back and forth between Bryan Danielson and MJF. At one point, MJF starts arguing with the referee and pushing the referee and stuff. And they try to hook Bryan Danielson's tights, try and get the 3 count by rolling him up. But Danielson kicks out at 2. But yeah, it was just going back and forth and everything. MJF got knocked out the ring, and then he grabs the oxygen tank from underneath the ring, hitting Bryan Danielson upside the head. The referee didn't see it, and then MJF locks on the label lock onto Bryan Danielson. Danielson was trying to fight out of it, but obviously can't, and he tapped out. So yeah, MJF defeated Bryan Danielson tonight in the 1-hour Iron Man match, and he has retained the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. That's what happened. Really good match. I'd give that match, I'll give it 4.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a really good match. Or maybe I'll give it 5 stars. It was a really good match. I like that they go into sudden death and stuff with these matches and stuff. Now, I know a lot of people was not big fans of Iron Man matches. It was like literally everybody's fans of that last, 5 minutes or so, like, like how when you watch an NBA game or whatever. Just, that's when the excitement kicks up and stuff. But definitely when it goes into sudden death and all that stuff, that's when it gets really good. But yeah, really good Iron Man match. I give that match 5 stars. It was my favorite match right there. Another favorite of mine was that Texas Death match between Jon Moxley and Adam Page. That match was really good and stuff. So yeah, bunch of really good matches for tonight's Revolution. For tonight's AEW Revolution 2023 pay-per-view, I'll give it 9.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a really good show. Ruby Soho turns heel tonight. FTR returns. MJF and Bryan Danielson had a killer match. The Texas Death match was a really good one. Bunch of really good matches. But yeah, like I said, I give this pay-per-view 9.5 stars. And it's one of my favorites. I'm not even going to lie. At least top 3 favorite AEW pay-per-views. But yeah, like I said, pretty good one. Subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Daniels, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. That'll be down there in the description box. And yeah, that has been my AEW Revolution 2023 reviews, and I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's Monday Night Raw reviews. See you guys later. Until then.